welcome. Welcome to the Lighthouse for our Friday session. So this week we have been spotlighting on focus and efficiency as our muse points for all the different approaches that we've taken to meditation, whether it's the dynamic meditation of the qigong flow, or the work of the breath, or the structure of the internal gazing. Really all of it has been geared toward these two primary points, being focus and efficiency. And if we are going to be efficient humans, which we're interested in, right? Like we want to do what we say and say what we do, and have reserve enough of energy to apply to the work that we're doing, so that we can really manifest the world, the more beautiful world that we know to be possible, through our hands, through our work, through our words, through our intentions, through every metric that we could possibly give a name to. So one of the key ingredients in being an efficient human is being resilient. And this is a word that has really gone live during the COVID world, right? I know that in our particular community of practice, the word resiliency, in fact, I began calling these sessions resiliency sessions. I think the first week that I began these offerings, which started in April of last year. So what does resiliency mean for us as practitioners? So one of the ways that I think about resiliency is, having a longer fuse, having an elongated and extended and expanded fuse. So that when, life is serving us situations or circumstances that are attempting to hijack our well-being or toss us off our beam, we don't crumble, we don't wither at the post perhaps so swiftly. We become more anti-fragile. That's one of the ways that I like to think about resiliency. So if we as a human being were traveling through the US postal system, we wouldn't need to have a fragile sticker on our packaging. We would be, robust and capable of going with the rough and tumble of the journey. So becoming anti-fragile. So one of the very important approaches to, there's a lot of different approaches to cultivating our resiliency from a longevity angle. We need to eat right, we need to exercise regularly, we need to sleep enough, we need to, be cultivating optimism. These are all inroads, very necessary inroads for resiliency. So when we sleep, that's one of the things that I want to kind of tune into with our meditation today. When we sleep, we're activating, the glymphatic system, which does the great good work of waste clearance in the brain and moving out the proteins and the metabolic substances that need to go in order for us to feel like we can focus for the long haul, so that we wake up feeling fresh, and so that we have a sustained relationship with that fresh state of mind for the whole day. So that glymphatic system is activated when we're sleeping. Something similar is happening for us when we're meditating. It's similar when we're practicing things like yoga nidra meditation, or when we're working with mantra, or when we're working with some of these breath technologies, or any sort of synthesis of these multiple parts. So when you are meditating, which is what we're going to do here in a few moments, you are catalyzing, you are capacitating inwardly this ability. You're creating the conditions for all the systemic inflammation that modern living and the information age is generating in our biology. You're capacitating, peacefulness. You are eliminating, you are soothing the inflammation. You are creating a kind of coolness, so that, and it's in that state of coolness that that our focus is found and that our efficiency is awakened. And I don't know about you, but for myself, being in that state of efficiency and focus is incredibly satisfying. I find my greatest fulfillment when I'm in that state of being. So I want to give you a gentle approach to meditation today that is very compatible with everything else that we have done this week. And I think that Fridays are important to kind of like slow the puppy down. And that also helps us when we slow down, because we're all moving very fast most of the time. When we slow down, it's creating the conditions that allow us to shift from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system, and to ultimately make the movement toward parasympathetic dominance. So we're there more often than not. Because a lot of us, and I sit here and talk about this stuff like I'm not subject to the process, but like I'm in it with all of you. Being in the sympathetic nervous system is so frigging commonplace, right? Because of the way that the world is. So I want you to use today's meditation to cultivate parasympathetic dominance, to slow down, to get out of the white water, to become more intimate with your efficiency, and to reach out and take hold of the longer fuse that is your birthright, that is the fuse of resiliency. So that when, and we can be sure that life is going to serve us, challenges, things are always going to happen. We can't remove ourselves from that because we're in a human life, right? So to reach out and take hold of that longer fuse is going to be, big helpmate process. So I want you to take this moment to get really comfortable and to come into your breath. Just natural breathing for this moment. I'm going to give you some, technique here in a second, but just come into your breath. Coming out of the white water of whatever the morning may have held for you, and closing down some of the tabs and the windows of the mind. And just taking a very quick moment to tune in to gratitude as a practice from the angle of your senses. Taking this moment to think of something that you have seen in the past season that you feel grateful for, something that you have seen that has inspired you, that has filled you, that has brought you into focus and out of the fog. Thinking of that, something you've seen in this past season that you're grateful for. And now as you receive this next inhalation, think of something that you have smelled in the natural world, maybe in your kitchen, maybe in a aromatherapy bath. Something that you've smelled that has brought you to life, that has brought you into that state where you can rest and digest. And something that you have smelled that has brought you out of fight and flight and into rest and digest. Think of something that you are grateful for, that you have breathed in, that has brought you to life, that has brought you into focus. Thinking now. And thinking now of something that you've touched in the past season that also too has brought you into focus, that has brought you into gratitude, that has made you feel more alive, that has dynamized the timeless immensity of beingness within your outlook and embodiment. And calling upon now something that you have tasted in this past season that has brought you into focus. out of the fog into the state of quiet beingness where you can rest and digest, where you feel like perhaps the fuse is boundless, the way in which you have capacitated your ability to respond to life in a fluid manner, in a compassionate, empathic, joyful manner, something you've tasted. And just kind of screenshot that sensory mandala of gratitude that you've tapped into in this past season. Just kind of place it in the pocket of your vest right there over your heart. Put it right in there. And you just carry that as a sort of token of awareness, a kind of secret memento that you can tune into that will, again, activate the focus, that will activate the clarity, that will activate the optimism, that will activate a longevity of well-being. So if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them. And I'm going to give you the technique of what I would like for you to do for the next many moments as we meditate together. So before I give you the technique, I want to just introduce the mantra and the meaning of this mantra so that we can just we can segue right into the practice after I give you the technique. So this is Antanasifati, which is a beautiful, very old mantra. We haven't done mantra work in a while in these IP sessions, but this is very this is some of the old school work in my portfolio of practices and lifeways. And, you know, science is even coming around to document the worthiness in terms of the clarity of mind, particularly in the aging brain. Working with mantra is really very effective for keeping the brain fresh. Whether, you know, you're 25 or 35 or 65 or 95, these repetitive loops of sound that we send through the circuitry of the brain can kind of work with the nodes to keep us square in the saddle of the Alzheimer's prevention program, if you will, and similar things such as that. And so I think that's really good news, you know. And of course, the mystics have known that for centuries, that this kind of work with the connection and the continuity of the sound current with the tip of the tongue, with the membrane of the roof of the mouth, and with the power of visualization, that this does really great things for the organism in terms of focus, efficiency, and clarity. So Antanasifati, it's a thunderbolt mantra. And so it's a long ass mantra. So I'm not going to ask you to chant with me. I'm going to chant it for you. But bathing in the space of a mantra, even if you're not the one articulating it, bathing in the space of it can be equally as efficient in terms of getting you there. So the Thunderbolt mantra, what is it cutting through? Well, it's cutting through all of the densities and the distortions and the dysmorphia and the depression and dissociation and, you know, on and on and on, all the stuff that we as individuals have been experiencing on the path in this particular life. But this is a particularly potent mantra because it has been said, you know, for centuries that the use of this mantra has the capacity to reach through generations. So if there are some generational cramps that have been handed down genetically through your family bloodline, it's said that the configuration of these sounds can help to cut like thunder and lightning through those patterns to get you out of that fog and to get you into the focus that is your birthright, so that you are, through the practice, free falling into the gift, into the present of the present moment of being here now only. I mean, that's the only thing we have, is this moment, right? The past can't touch us, so why in the world are we always reaching back and touching it? And to hyper-futurize is only going to cultivate anxiety, to some degree oftentimes. So just being here now. So I want you to be able to experience this restfulness so that even in your wakefulness, the lymphatic system is getting activated and the parasympathetic nervous system is getting nourished. So I want you to do, yesterday we were working with the bear lock. This lock that we're going to work with today is called the Jupiter lock, and it's similar but different. But to create the Jupiter lock, you're going to take your Jupiter finger, which is your index finger on both hands, and you're going to lock them together and then conjoin the tips of the index fingers with the tips of the thumbs, okay? So you've got this beautiful thing going on right here, and then you're going to take the middle ring and pinky finger tips and plug them into the docking station that is the center of the palms of your hands. And then, like we always do, you're going to create some kind of tug. So you're pushing the elbows, or pulling rather, the elbows in opposite directions, and then I want you to tuck your chin in. This pulling of the elbows is very subtle, okay? So you're not, you're not experiencing any kind of burn in the musculature in the top of the chest or anything. So you're going to stay here, and so all week we've been focusing on creating a frequency of transparency. So if we've got brain fog, the frequency that we're emitting from the center of the brain, the frequency that we're emitting from the center of the spine is going to have some kind of fog to it, right? So these particular practices are helping us to create a frequency of transparency. So tug, and then I want you to create a circle shape with the mouth. And breathe in through the circle shape, breathe in through the lips, and then hold on to the breath, and then exhale out of your nose. And I'd like for you to check out what it feels like to pause after the inhale and to also pause after the exhale, okay? So that's all you're going to do. And I want you to be as restful and as quiet as you possibly can. And I'm going to sing for you and create this. So let me just take a sip of this tea, go ahead and create the structure and begin the breathing. Again, we're elongating, extending, and expanding the fuse so that we are anti-fragile. This is so important in the embodiment of resiliency. Antara japai kita akan Visualizing now, please, the central axis of your spine and the essence therein, the transparency of the essence therein, free of density, fluid, flowing, fully alive, focused, resilient. A frequency of transparency. Remember, it all has to do with your frequency. What is that you're catching, how it is that you're applying it, the way in which you enjoy being here in your life, in this world. It's your frequency. Thanks for taking time to do some energetic hygiene practices so that that frequency can crystal clear. And I want to remind you that every time you make time, that you take time to tune in and take care at that really sophisticated, subtle level, energetically, you're not the only one who benefits. Everybody else who you come in contact with, whether it's physically or virtually, is also going to benefit too. One last breath here together in the timeless immensity of pure beingness. Thank you, friends. Sat Nam and Namaste.